Hey you. What's going on? Are you looking for a vlog about why does the US isn't sending troops into Ukraine amidst Russian invasion? If that is so, then this vlog is what you've been looking for and I'm gonna reshare it to you, right now. But first, let's have a big shout out to all of you guys who relentlessly support my channel. Thank you very much for your support guys. Having said that, let's answer why is the US not sending troops into Ukraine. According to a published analysis by Paul LeBlanc on TV on February 28, 2022. Russia's unprovoked assault on Ukraine, now in its fourth day at the time, has faced universal condemnation from Western countries. Crushing sanctions against Russia and support to Ukraine have come from many angles. But putting Western troops like American soldiers on the ground in Ukraine, which is not a member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization NATO, is a line that the US and other Western allies have not been willing to cross. On a television interview, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Linda Thomas-Greenfield told Dana Bash on State of the Union on Sunday that the Biden administration has made clear the U.S. will not put boots on the ground. We're not going to put American troops in danger, she said. But the thing is, what other factors are keeping U.S. troops out of Ukraine? First things first, here's what you need to know. Why won't the U.S. send troops into Ukraine? Though the U.S. has strongly condemned Russia's actions at every chance, U.S. President Biden has gone to great lengths to make clear that U.S. forces will not enter Ukraine and engage Russia directly. But why's that? As Biden mentioned on a TV news earlier this month, that's a world war when Americans and Russia start shooting at one another. In other words, the U.S. entrance into the conflict has the potential to touch off a war of global scale and magnitude. Retired Lieutenant General Mark Hertling, a national security and military analyst who works for a famous, told TV audience that, the key to diplomacy is to limit the potential for war. While the current war of Russian illegal invasion into Ukraine is tragic, chaotic and devastating, it still stays as a regional conflict. If NATO or the US sent troops into Ukraine to help them fight the Russians, the dynamic would dramatically shift to a multinational conflict with potential global implications due to the nuclear power status of both US and Russia. Because of that, the US-NATO alliance with their partners like other nations around the world, are attempting to influence the success of Ukraine and the defeat of Russia by providing other types of support, General Hertling said. But hey, what about those US troops already in Europe? The US has deployed thousands of its troops throughout Europe, both before and during Russia's invasion of Ukraine. According to Barbara Starr, there are like more than 4,000 U.S. Army troops who are deployed to Europe on a temporary basis that will now have their tours of duty extended, like most likely for several weeks like as part of the U.S. effort to reassure East European partners during the current crisis. But the thing is, those troops are not there to fight the Russians. U.S. forces are not and will not be engaged in a conflict with Russia in Ukraine, President Biden said from the White House last Thursday. Rather, U.S. troops are tasked with defending our NATO allies and reassure those allies in the East. As I made crystal clear, the United States will defend every inch of NATO territory with the full force of American power, Biden added as he closed. Is there any scenario where the US would engage Russia directly? Guys, Ukraine borders the NATO member countries of Poland, Slovakia, Hungary and Romania. The thing is, if Russia threatened one of these countries, the US along with France, Germany, the UK and the rest of the 30-member NATO alliance, would be required by Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty to respond. Article 5 guarantees that the resources of the whole alliance can be used to protect any single member nation. Guys, the first and only time it has been invoked was in the aftermath of the September 11, 2001 attacks on the US. As a result, NATO allies joined the invasion of Afghanistan. Another telling question is, will American troops help create a no-fly zone in Ukraine? Here is the answer guys, the United States will not put US pilots in the air to create a no-fly zone in Ukraine, according to Thomas Greenfield last Sunday. The Biden administration's fashion of keeping U.S. forces out of Ukraine means, we're not going to put American troops in the air as well, but we will work with the Ukrainians to give them the ability to defend themselves, she said. Guys, while some Ukrainian officials have called on NATO countries to close the sky over Ukraine, establishing a no-fly zone would put the U.S. in direct engagement with the Russian military, which the White House has made clear it is not interested in doing. How else is the U.S. helping Ukraine then? Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on TV last Saturday that he has authorized $350 million in new U.S. military assistance to Ukraine. Today, as Ukraine fights with courage and pride against Russia's brutal and unprovoked assault, I have authorized, pursuant to a delegation by the President, an unprecedented third presidential drawdown of up to $350 million for immediate support to Ukraine's defense, the top U.S. diplomat said in a statement earlier. Previous drawdowns have been for $60 million and $250 million, putting the total over the last year at more than $1 billion, according to an administration official. Additionally, Blinken announced Sunday that the U.S. is sending nearly $54 million in humanitarian aid to Ukraine to assist those affected by Russia's invasion. How has the U.S. punished Russia? In a word guys, sanctions. The U.S. and its Western partners have imposed several rounds of sanctions over Russia, targeting its banking, aerospace and technology sectors. These sanctions enact penalties across industries, like asset freezes for the largest Russian banks, debt and equity restrictions on critical mining, transportation and logistics firms, a global-scale effort to shut down access to critical technology for key Russian military and industrial sectors. Guys, on Friday, the US, along with the European Union, United Kingdom and Canada, announced it would impose sanctions directly on Russian President Vladimir Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. And on Saturday, the US and the European Commission, along with France, Germany, Italy, the United Kingdom and Canada, announced they would expel certain Russian banks from SWIFT, the high-security network that connects thousands of financial institutions worldwide. Sanctions, blockades, economic influence, building of alliances against Putin's actions while simultaneously supplying Ukraine with weapons and other aid will hopefully prevent escalations and unintended worldwide consequences, Hertling said. Where does the American public opinion sit? Last week guys, Americans are wary of U.S. intervention in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, according to polls taken in the run-up to Russia's invasion. In an exclusive AP North poll, barely 26% of Americans believe that the U.S. should play a major role in the situation between Russia and Ukraine. About half, like 52%, said it should play a minor role and another 20% that it should play no role at all. One-third of Democrats, like 32%, and 22% of Republicans wanted the U.S. to play a major role. Independents were most likely to say the U.S. should play no role. 32% felt that way, compared with 22% among Republicans and 14% among Democrats. But what comes next? Thomas Greenfield said Sunday that the U.S. has not taken anything off the table, when asked about targeting the Russian energy sector with sanctions, which so far has not happened. We're ramping up as the Russians ramp up, so there's more to come, she said. U.S. and European officials have discussed targeting the Russian central bank with sanctions, a step without precedent for an economy of Russia's size. Thomas Greenfield did not give precise timing for that but said, this is happening very, very quickly. The scale of the central bank sanctions are still under discussion and could have even more bite than officials have telegraphed, TV reporter Phil Mattingly has reported. Guys, do you agree that the U.S. should not be sending U.S. troops into Ukraine amidst Russian invasion? Kindly write your response in the comments section and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this vlog and thank you very much for supporting my channel. I'll be seeing you in my next video. Cheers.